Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be continuing the Race for Bedard series. Today is episode 5. I didn't get to make a video last week because I was sick. You could still kind of hear it in my voice. But yeah, today we're going to be covering last week and this week. And let me tell you, it's pretty optimistic this week. Now, just before I get into the video, if you are new here and you do love Habs news, Habs rumors, Habs content, all of that good stuff, or if you're a fan of the series, then I invite you to subscribe. I make daily videos and I'm currently trying to hit 2,000 subscribers. Now, without further ado, let's get right into episode 5 of the Race for Connor Bedard. Just a disclaimer, I am filming this Monday during the afternoon, but it probably will only be out after the game tonight versus Colorado Avalanche, so don't be surprised if you're a little confused. All of this has been the past 2 weeks before tonight. So yeah, we've had a lot of bad news lately, but there's been good news, and we're going to start off the video with the good news. So we're going to be talking about the Montreal Canadiens. In the past 2 weeks, they played 7 games with 1 win, 4 losses, and 2 overtime losses. Pretty good. We did get, unfortunately, to the shootouts in back-to-back games against Carolina and the Rangers. We had no business being there, so we unfortunately got 2 extra points, but we sit with 58 points, and the better news out of that is that we dropped to the 5th last place. We are currently top 5 in the draft spot. I'm telling you, I used to dream for days like this where we finally got into the top 5. I am so happy, and the remainder of the Habs schedule is so tough. It will be a challenge for Anaheim to catch up to us, for us to get into that top 4 area. But just take a look at Montreal's following schedule. The next 2 weeks consist of a game against Colorado, Pittsburgh, Florida, 2 games in a row against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Boston Bruins after that, and then we get Columbus to finish off the second week, which is probably going to be a win for us. But if somehow we lose because we're on a hell of a losing streak, I would love that. So the next 6 out of 19 games are extremely tough opponents. And if you're a Habs fan, that's great news. Now, enough of just the Habs. Let's move on to another team that has been doing very well. The Arizona Coyotes, who actually passed us by a point and are the reason we are top 5 now. So the past 2 weeks, this is how they've been doing. 4 wins, 2 losses, and 2 overtime losses, with a total of 59 points now. And they move up to the 6th overall pick. That's amazing for us. They're on a heater. And they still have a pretty easy schedule, in my opinion, and they're going to be playing a lot of the bottom teams. So hopefully that means they'll be able to make the gap between us and them larger, so we don't have a chance to catch up to them. Now moving on to another team who did quite well these past 2 weeks is the Vancouver Canucks. If you didn't know, a couple weeks ago, they fell below us in the standings, and just annoying, right? We were now 7th pick, so it wasn't looking good. But lately, with Thatcher Demko coming back, they've been a whole different team. 5 wins and 1 loss out of their last 6 games, which brings them to 61 points, 3 above the Habs, and they're up to 8th place. They're starting to make that gap between us larger and larger, which is amazing. And now there's one other team that has been pretty good, and that is the Anaheim Ducks. The past 2 weeks, they had 3 wins, 1 loss, and 2 overtime losses, which brings them to 4th last place, and they have 54 points, 4 behind us. And this is the next team that realistically could pass us. A 4-point gap is nothing too big and nothing too small either. It's definitely going to be a challenge, but if there's another team that's going to pass us, it's going to have to be Anaheim. Top 3 might be unreachable, but top 4 might be. So if Anaheim keeps this up, we very well may be looking at a top 4 pick. All right, now all the good news is pretty much out the window, and you know what? It's a lot of good news. I'm very satisfied with that. But there are other results with the other teams that aren't looking too good. Let me start off with something not so bad, and that's the Chicago Blackhawks. Well, we saw this coming because, they got rid of Kane, got rid of Domi, the only 2 guys producing for them. So it's going to be hard for them to win games. And in the past 2 weeks, 6 losses, 1 win, and 1 overtime loss. So that's 7 losses out of 8 games. It's not great. They currently have 50 points, and they're in 3rd place. So we're 8 points away from 3rd place. It's a big gap, and it's probably not going to happen. We're not going to get there unless we lose every game for the rest of the season. So top 3 is starting to look very out of reach, which is unfortunate because Chicago's not going to win any more games. They might win like 4 for the rest of the season, but we can't really count on them to make up an 8-point gap on us. As for other teams that are pretty much the same way, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're last place with 47 points. They had 1 win, 3 losses, and 1 overtime loss in the past 2 weeks. 47 points, 11 points away. It's not going to happen. They're 100% finishing bottom 3 if they're not already finishing it last. They've been last for multiple weeks now without change. And finally, we also have the San Jose Sharks, who have been tanking hard. They used to be a team that was like 2 or 3 points away from us at a certain time. Once upon a time, they could have passed us. And now they're down to 50 points, and they're tied for bottom 2. The past 2 weeks, they've had 1 win and 6 losses, including a loss against us, which was really annoying because we went up 2 points and went further away from them. So ever since they got rid of Timo Meier, it's been kind of a shit show for them. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't think they're making it out of the bottom 3. There's no way they make an 8-point gap between us and them. And finally, that leaves us with 2 teams. Usually I talk about the Senators, but I'm kind of bored of them, so I switched it up. And I'm going to be talking about the Philadelphia Flyers. Because this team fucking sucks. And they might just catch up to us. And it sucks. They currently have 59 points. 1 ahead of us. And in the past 2 weeks, they have 1 win, 3 losses, and 1 overtime loss. The way they're going, it's not looking good. They sit 1 point ahead of us, like I said. Tied with the Arizona Coyotes. And I'm just worried if we start winning too much, we could easily pass 2 or 3 teams just like that and go from 5th pick to 8th. So this team, the Philadelphia Flyers, they got to get their crap together and they got to start pulling in some points or else it's not going to be fun for us. And finally, the last team to talk about, as you all know, is the Florida Panthers. And I left them last because it's not looking good at all. Once upon a time, this was looking like a top 10 pick for us. There was even rumors that Florida would start selling because they had no assets to buy for the trade deadline and they weren't doing too hot. So the option to sell assets was there for them. But they didn't go that route and instead they started winning. In the past 2 weeks, they've gone for 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 overtime loss. And they're looking like they might just make the playoffs. They're fighting for that last wild card spot, which is so disappointing because, like I said, they used to suck. They sucked for like 3/4 of the season. They were almost a top 10 pick for the whole time. And all of a sudden, they're going on win streaks. People are playing out of their minds. And next thing you know, they might just be in the playoffs. And that's not good for us because we hold their pick. All right, so that's going to do it for the recap of the past 2 weeks. Now it's time for Tankathon. And ladies and gents, there has been no luck here every single time I do this. Like the past 4 weeks, there hasn't been a single time where our pick or the Florida pick went up when I do this in the videos. And I don't even fake it because obviously I could fake it and get first or second every time and just keep spamming until I get it. So this is how you know this is fully legit. I just show you 3 or 5 spins and that's it, that's all. So with that being said, let's get into spin number 1. Nothing. But you know, like I said, we are now in the 5th spot, better than 6th. We have a percentage higher of odds. But unfortunately, as you can see down here, Florida's pick is now 15th instead of a top 10. All right, time for spin 2. We'd go down here, not looking good. Spin 3. Nothing. Wow, nothing really happens here. And spin 4. Oh my goodness, it finally happened. All right, so in this case scenario, we would have gotten Adam Fantilli, and I would be ecstatic with that. And now we're going to do one last spin to cap it off. bam, nothing. But you know what? That's progress. We got a pick in the top 2 this time. I'll take it. That means our odds are getting better. And if we continue to lose, we'll get lower and lower in the standings. Anyways, guys, that is going to be all for this week's tank update. Let me know down in the comments if I should do anything else or change up anything in this series. And yeah, if you did enjoy, don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.